So we will stream it on YouTube for that person. So we want to be caring and respond to that need. So let me I just need to adjust that. Okay, very good. We're ready to go. Okay, so I read that some of you like the video and the sound of bells. That's great. Please say your comments, your greetings in the chat box. Renati really liked the video. The flags reminded me of the medicine crafts workshop I participated in on the weekend, making prayer ties. Prayer ties. Didn't know about that. Good morning to Nancy and Renate. Beautiful day. I'm so delighted with everything growing in my garden. Isn't that wonderful? I like spring for that. We plant, it's incredible. Just from a tiny seed, you have plants coming out and giving those vegetables, which is wonderful. I like that. Okay, today, let's have our little agenda for today. We will start with our breathing space, of course. And I want to give you a little bit from an article that someone sent me. Also, we'll do our activation, a little bit of a Tai Chi move, just a simple move, and our 6 breaths. And oh, I have an interesting video by Susan David today about emotions. We're talking about emotions today. And Patrick is with us. Patrick will close the whole thing, our whole morning together. So let's start. If you have your tea with you, have a good sip of tea or hot water to begin. Good hydration. Does it feel good? To be mindful is to pay attention to the sensation. Okay, let's do our breathing space. Sitting comfortably. We start for about a minute of checking in. What's our attitude this morning as we come together? Noticing our state of mind. Is it just we're coming in just as routine or with curiosity? Could be with anxiety or sadness, or it might be with an intention. I want this moment, this time to be wonderful for me today. I want to learn something. I want to make it meaningful. That attitude is so important. And then for about a minute, we turn our focus simply on the breath, the very physical sensation of breathing. We honor our body as we'll pay attention to it, pay attention to even the sound of the breath, the expansion of our chest, and the contraction with the out breath. And noticing that release at the end of the out breath. It's such a simple behavior or action that we pay attention to. But our body, it thanks us whenever we do that, whenever we pay attention to that. Taking a break from any other thoughts. And then for the last minute, we expand our attention to our whole body from head to toe. What do we feel? Is there like tight muscles? Is there discomfort here and there? Do we need to release something in our joints, in our muscles? And what kind of energy is there in our body? Is there a life? Are we ready to go for this day? Okay, I want to do a little something now. Now, did you hear that bell sound? I'm trying a different type of sound, not just my handheld bell. I think the sound does not last too long when I do it by hand, but now I'm trying from something from my computer. So did you hear the bell sound? Can someone type and answer a response for that? Okay, Joanne says, yes, I heard it clearly. Good, 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 good. Paul, too. Yes, I heard it. Excellent. Okay, so we found a better sound for that bell sound. Not that we need a bell sound, but it's just cool. I think I like it's a good cue to start and stop paying attention. We need cues like that. Uh, and we can have any type of cues in our day. Hey, by the way, how often do you stop and pay attention, be mindful in your day? It depends on the cues. If, for example, anytime you get out the door of your house, it's a cue to stop and look at the sky. It's a moment of mindfulness. It can be whenever you're in the shower. You're just in the shower. You have 1,000 thoughts in your mind, and then there's a cue. Okay, I need to pay attention to the water on my body. You know, I remember our friend Patrick in one of his meditation. He says, "Try to pay attention to every single drop of water when you take a shower." And I thought, well, it's impossible to notice there's thousands of drops, but just the thought, let's try to notice each single drop. To me, that's a moment of mindfulness. There's a cue. I remember that in the shower, I need to pay attention to every single drop of water. So if you have many times, many cues during your day where you stop and have a mindful moment and let it sink in. That's growing in mindfulness. Okay, Nancy says she heard the sound of the bell, but it doesn't seem any different than the bowl. I was hoping that it would be a longer sound. It would take longer to fade away, but maybe not. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. We'll have to experiment with that. Okay, before we go any further, I just want to share. Bev sent me an article, and I thought I would just share some few thoughts about it. It's about highly sensitive people. Are you a highly sensitive person? Apparently, a third of people are very sensitive, highly sensitive. It's a biological trait possessed by roughly a third of the population. In a world of constant information overload and stress, it's a characteristic that can result in a variety of behavior, from emotional outburst to withdrawal, feeling overwhelmed, and procrastination. The person with high sensitivity will be more responsive, both for better and for worse. So highly sensitive people, they respond more, either emotionally in a good way, or it could be for worse. People with high sensitivity might get more rattled by uncomfortable situations. They might also experience higher levels of creativity, deeper bonds with others, and a heightened appreciation of beauty. They do everything more deeply. And there's research about the different parts of the brain, how they are activated in a different way for highly sensitive people. So just so you know, maybe you find yourself, oh, I'm too emotional, too overwhelmed, too intense in my emotion. I was actually talking to someone the weekend in a crisis, and she was so anxious. But that's how it is. You feel the emotion sometimes more than others. And we'll look more at that today with that video about emotions. Okay, thank you, Bear, for that article. I like that you send me some uh, thoughts, and maybe some of you would be ready to share a little something at some point, like Patrick, share a concept or a meditation. So just let me know, and I'd like to give a chance to some of you to share something. And by the way, in the next few weeks, I'll tell you what's coming in the next few weeks. I want to have one of our Dr. Byron, be our guest and talk about a topic in our program. I also want to do kind of a little series about the 7 qualities of mindfulness, such as being patient, such as being curious. So there's 7 qualities that make up a good time of mindful meditation. And I also want, I have so many ideas. I want to talk about pain. I want to talk about other topics in mindfulness, but we'll, just so you know, that those 2 things, Dr. Byron and the attitude and meditation, will be coming shortly. Okay, let's do a little bit of our activation. It's going to be a simple move this morning. So get up if you have a little bit of room. Doesn't take too much room. Today, I just want to do there's that move at the beginning of the Tai Chi routine. It's called left grass bird tail and then full grass bird tail. So it's that move. And it's like pushing a big rock, a big boulder. So we'll just practice that. So standing up with feet about shoulder width, breathing comfortably, and with your right foot turning about 45 degrees, you take a step in that direction. So lowering down on your left knee, right foot forward, and you just push in that direction. as you breathe out. And then you come back and your hands kind of go back in line with your left knee, and you're almost like sitting. You're bending your left knee. So that's working into your thigh muscles. And then you push again as you push over the right knee and back. Back again. Okay, I'll do it from another angle so you can see better the move on the right side. So right foot at about 45 degrees, bend your left knee, take a step and push in that direction. Back on your left leg and push again. Breathe, breathe in, breathe out. In a very slow and gracious move. And see how you move in space and in time, as if time is slowing down. Okay, now let's do it on the other side. So I'll do it this way again so you can see from my back. Left foot at 45 degrees, you take a step that direction and push. And come back over your right knee, sit, kind of sit a little bit, and then push again. Imagine pushing a big boulder. Okay, I'll turn to face you for do that move again. My left foot at 45 degrees, and I push. As you push, imagine pushing that big boulder. It can represent all the difficulties, the worries you have, all the challenges. You're ready to tackle it, to push that from your life. You want to be a winner. Okay, very good. Take a seat now. And a sip of water. Let's take our sixth breath just to pay attention to how our body responded to that. Sitting in a dignified, comfortable position, breathing in. That's one breath. We'll do 6 breaths as you pay attention to how your body was activated, how your heart is beating a little more, how you're breathing more deeply. And you do each breath at your own pace, at your own rhythm. with each breath, especially the out breath. It's like paying attention to that wave of paying attention of how that body feels from head to toe. Okay, how did that feel? Lennox sent me an email, and he was saying that he finds that in some of the exercises, his breath is slower than what we do. So everyone has a different rhythm for the breath, but we have to just go with what we need to do, with what we need to, how we need to breathe, what our body needs. Okay, okay. Now let's go to our homework. Our homework, if you remember, was to do that kind of a that thought record. You remember that? So we'll look at that and see where we are today. So I want to show you. Let's have a little review of our study of our inner being with the concept of life as an onion. You remember that? Life as an onion. So we have layers just like an onion. And we'll look at that again. So actually, let's do the onion. Our outward layer is our behavior. That's how we act. That's what's visible. Either we cry, either we work at something very intensively. We may reach out for help. We may withdraw. We may do nothing. That's a behavior. It's how we act, how we behave. That's the idea. That's the outer layer. But underneath that, there's a layer of our intentions. What's our intention? Is it self-protection? Is it maybe we're upset at someone? Maybe we're angry. Maybe there's resentment. What's our intention underneath? Or it may be a positive intention. I want to have a good impact on people. I want to take care of myself. I want to live a good life. That can be the intention. Underneath that, there's another layer of the emotions. We'll look a little bit at that today. The emotions influence our intention. The intentions influence our behavior. Underneath the emotions are the thoughts. The thoughts. So maybe it's the thought that this is unfair. I'm not treated well. Someone was telling me recently that a friend of hers got some flowers from her boyfriend, but she didn't get flowers from her boyfriend. So the thought was that it's not fair, it's not good, should be worth more than that. So all the thoughts are there. And at the core is our needs to be what? To be loved. And to be loved, we can feel it in two ways. Usually we feel secure and valued. That's how we feel loved. Okay, now let's do our little review of that thought record. So we did look at Writing, try to write every day on paper. Better to have it on paper than just in your head, when you write it. So a column about our behavior, then our intentions and emotions. So behavior might be, I'm my friend had flowers, I didn't get any, so my behavior, maybe I complain, or maybe I say something to my boyfriend. Maybe the intention is to, maybe it's to hurt the other person. Maybe it's just to, I don't know, to put more life in the relationship. Can be positive, can be negative. The emotion might be, I am hurt. I feel deprived of something. That actually can be the next column, the thoughts. I am deprived. It's unfair. Those are the thoughts. And the emotion might be jealous, hurt. I don't know if you can write, at least if you can hear what I say, maybe you won't be able to read what I write. Okay, so today we're adding another column, the thoughts. What are the thoughts influencing my emotion? Which emotion are influencing my intention, and which intention are influencing my behavior? Okay, so by the way, someone wrote to me that it's getting a bit complicated, and they don't know what, if they can do that kind of things. Well, we just can just try. I encourage you just to try. And even though it's complex, just paying attention to one thing. What's my behavior? My behavior. Am I always talking to other people? Am I always staying silent? Am I reaching out? Am I withdrawing, isolating? What is my behavior? Am I pushing myself to go to walk, or am I just staying seated all day watching TV? That's the behavior. What are the intentions? That's very important. Emotions and thoughts. Now, I want to show you, if we take each of them separately, the behavior, the goal for the behavior is to pay attention. Is it, let's write behavior. Is it appropriate or not? If we take, instead of putting them one inside the other, I'm separating them here so you can see better the intentions. The intentions can be good or bad. Like maybe my intention is revenge. Maybe my intention is to honor another person. It can be good or bad. Maybe my intention is just, I'm on autopilot. I'm not taking ownership of my life. I just do what I always do. So noticing it, we can realize, is it good or bad? The thoughts, the emotions, what's the goal of the emotion? It's to feel the emotions or not. It's not good or bad. The emotions here, we want to feel or not. Do we want to pay attention to the emotions or not? Because that's often the case. We just want to repress the emotion. So sometimes we feel the emotions just a little bit, just like this, but we want to grow and be more aware of the emotion up to a point where we were almost totally aware of our emotion. That's the goal here. And the thoughts can be true or false. So is it a true thought that my boyfriend doesn't love me, for example? Or maybe am I just exaggerating, or maybe catastrophizing, or maybe trying to see everything black or white, like there's no gray zone? Am I putting uh, seeing everything in extreme? So that's the test here. Is it true or false? And then the core need, of course, they should be all the same size here, but I'm just for just trying to make them fit on my page. The need, my need to be loved, is it met or unmet? Am I loved? Am I secure, safe? And am I valuable, worthy? Do I know that? Where is my grounding? Where's my foundation for that reality, for my needs? Okay. Any thoughts? Any feedback? Any comments? Any question? Are you all confused, or does it make sense? Renati asks, so this is mindfulness as an exercise of introspection. Yeah, I suppose your question is about this. And yes, it is an exercise of introspection. You want to pay attention. What am I doing? Like, a lot of the mindfulness exercise that we can see online, or typically it's more like eyes closed, breathing, calming, disconnecting from all the chaos. And so this is good, but to be aware, to be mindful, it can be much more than that. And one of the things is to be aware, how am I functioning as a human being? I want to pay attention to that. Or what are my behavior, intentions, emotions, thoughts, and are my needs met? So that's bringing the power of awareness to the most crucial part of self. It's I would say one of the important part of ourself, the way we function. Paul or rather before that, Lennox says, for the behavior, she does not have to complain. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So she didn't get the flowers. Okay, maybe at the core, she might think, I am deprived. This is unfair. So this is the actual digging in. Like we start from the outside, from the behavior, we go inside. So from the behavior, we go from complaint, we look at the intention, then we look at the emotion, then we look at the thought, and then we find our way back. And and then of course the other one is I need a larger page. Let me do a little trick here. Actually, what would be the last one? Would be our need to be loved. And of course, in that situation, the thought is, I am not valued. I'm not loved. I'm not valued. And this is why I'm deprived. I'm hurt. I want to hurt the other person, and I want to complain. But now, if we change the core, No, he does love me. He stays with me. He shows his love in other ways. He's always there. He's my knight in shining armor. He'll always protect me. So I am loved. And the thought is, yeah, he loves me. And the emotion is we feel maybe satisfied. And the intention is to maybe return the love, despite even if he did not bring flowers. And the behavior might be an act of love. So you see, we dig in to the core and then we come out by correcting everything here. Okay. I know it may be a little confusing, but I think you can sense that there's something there. Patrick says it takes time to get to know oneself, but it's well worth the effort as it builds awareness. Awareness, that's the key, that can come in handy during stressful triggers. Awareness is a key to gain intimacy with someone. It's by becoming aware of that you can become intimate. Paul says, I really like this exercise and will be trying this out. Please try to do it once a day, one each day, like that with all those columns. Now I'm adding thoughts and needs as columns. Leanne says, makes sense. One cannot go without the other as like a missing link in ourselves. Exactly. Nancy, enjoying this info, it helps to clarify behavior. Bernie, our thoughts can lead us in the wrong direction. We need to be comfortable enough to talk to others to make sure that our thoughts are real or just imagined. Yeah, sometimes our thoughts, and sometimes there's a bit of truth in our thought and we need to have a more balanced thought. But yeah, that's what can be true or false. And we have to correct them. And talking to someone else can help us correct them. And that's one big part of what counselors do also. Nancy says it gives such a solid framework to work from. It will take some practice, but so rewarding. Actually, this is what I tell to a lot of people. This is a skill that you'll have for life. Learn it now, you'll have it for life. And when is it the most useful? It's when you're the most emotional and maybe you feel the least like doing it. That's when you have to stop and write, what happened here? Well, like, this is so dramatic, I'm so emotional and I did something wrong. This is the time to figure out what happened. Bernie says, sometimes all the ads on TV make us think that the way others show love is by buying us things. Of course, yeah. And sometimes there's ads of that diamond ring if you really love her. But that's just one way to show love. There's so many other ways to show love. Okay, did I miss somebody? Paul says, I really like this exercise. We'll be trying this out. Okay, how are we on time? Time goes by, but I think we're good. I want to show you now for the when we're at the emotion part. What's the goal of emotion? Is to feel or not feel. We have to pay attention. It's not right or wrong. Are we feeling it or not? Are we repressing it? Or are we letting the emotion come out, and do we pay attention to it? Let me play for you right now. I just want to start this this video, so I will share my screen with you. It's about 5 minutes long. Please pay attention, and you can comment as we go if you like, or take notes.
The World Health Organization tells us that depression is now the single leading cause of disability globally, outstripping cancer, outstripping heart disease. And at a time of greater complexity, unprecedented technological, political, and economic change, we are seeing how people's tendency is more and more to lock down into rigid responses to their emotions. On the one hand, we might obsessively brood on our feelings, getting stuck inside our heads, hooked on being right, or victimized by our news feed. On the other, we might bottle our emotions, pushing them aside, and permitting only those emotions deemed legitimate. In a survey I recently conducted with over 70,000 people, I found that a third of us, either judge ourselves for having so-called bad emotions, like sadness, anger, or even grief, or actively try to push aside these feelings. We do this not only to ourselves, but also to people we love, like our children. We may inadvertently shame them out of emotions seen as negative, jump to solution, and fail to help them to see these emotions as inherently valuable. Normal, natural emotions are now seen as good or bad. And being positive has become a new form of moral correctness. People with cancer are automatically told to just stay positive. Women to stop being so angry. And the list goes on. It's a tyranny. It's a tyranny of positivity. And it's cruel, unkind, and ineffective. And we do it to ourselves, and we do it to others. If there's one common feature of brooding, bottling, or forced positivity, it's this: they are all rigid responses. And if there's a single lesson we can learn from the inevitable fall of apartheid, it is that rigid denial doesn't work. It's unsustainable for individuals, for families, for societies. And as we watch the ice caps melt, it is unsustainable for our planet. Research on emotional suppression shows that when emotions are pushed aside or ignored, they get stronger. Psychologists call this amplification, like that delicious chocolate cake in the refrigerator. The more you try to ignore it, the greater its hold on you. You might think you're in control of unwanted emotions when you ignore them, but in fact, they control you. Internal pain always comes out. Always. And who pays the price? We do. Our children, our colleagues, our communities. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-happiness. I like being happy. I'm a pretty happy person. But when we push aside normal emotions to embrace false positivity, we lose our capacity to develop skills to deal with the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. I've had hundreds of people tell me what they don't want to feel. They say things like, I don't want to try because I don't want to feel disappointed. Or I just want this feeling to go away. I understand, I say to them, but you have dead people's goals. Only dead people never get unwanted or inconvenienced by their feelings. Only dead people never get stressed, never get broken hearts, never experience the disappointment that comes with failure. Tough emotions are part of our contract with life. You don't get to have a meaningful career or raise a family or leave the world a better place without stress and discomfort. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life.
Okay. Discomfort is the price of admission to a more meaningful life. Okay. What did you get from that talk from Susan David? I'm just going to share a few notes from what she said. She said depression is I think she said something like it's one of the major cause of people missing work, depression. And it's because of rigid responses to emotions. We're hooked on being right or being victimized. That's the intention. I want to be right, or I'm a victim, poor me. And then with that attitude, we push our emotions aside. So our intention here of being right or victimized, then we repress our emotions. 1/3 of people say they judge themselves because of bad emotions. Like, I'm angry, I shouldn't be angry, or I'm sad, I shouldn't be sad. But it's just emotion. Is it wrong? The emotions are not wrong. Like she said, the emotions are not good or bad. We just need to feel them instead of repressing them. There's that tyranny of positivity. You have to be positive. She says even people with cancer, they're being told you have to stay positive. So as if you're not allowed to have bad feelings, negative feelings. She says it's cruel to put that type of responsibility on people. You need to have just positive feelings, but that's not where we can make a difference. We can make a difference in changing our thoughts or attitudes, intentions, but not in the emotions. We have a rigid, we know that a rigid denial doesn't work. I like the quote that was on the wall when she was speaking. Life's beauty is inseparable from its fragility. We are fragile, we are vulnerable, we need to embrace the emotions that come with that. Internal pain always comes out. And if you don't want to have negative emotion, well, then you have dead people's goal. Only dead people, they never experience disappointment or bad emotion. Okay. Joanne says, without bad times, how do we know or appreciate the good times? That's so true. People who have suffered, they can appreciate relief. People who have seen negative things can appreciate the positive things in life. So if we've suffered, sometimes it gives us more appreciation for the good things in life. I used to criticize myself for not praying the right way. I can laugh at that now. Yeah. Wonderful. Renati says, too often we're taught that we should never show certain emotions. I know even as an adult recently, I've been told by people in my family that I have to get rid of my anger. Yeah, we often grow up in our society, in our culture, when we're a child, don't be angry, don't be sad. It's like we're not allowed, don't feel, don't. All the don't, the injunction that we've seen in the last few months, all the don't feel, don't be yourself, don't be close, don't be. That's the opposite of I'll honor my emotions. Leanne says, I listened to a podcast from CBC by Dr. Peter Liu on toxic positivity. Same concept and very interesting. Being real is okay as long as we don't get stuck there. being real. Well, usually we don't get stuck in when we're real. Sometimes we get stuck in being positive. They call it the Pollyanna syndrome, when everything is always good, everything is always perfect, when in reality we're denying our negative emotions. We need to be real. Joanne says, Gabor Maté's book talks at length about the dangers to our health by repressing our emotions and feeling. Exactly, that's the concept of emotional competence. I think page 38 of Gabor Maté's book, When the Body Says No, emotional competence. That's the opposite of repressing our emotion. Bernie says, although it's important to acknowledge our emotions, we need to learn how to handle them. So that's more in the behavior, what we do with our emotions. It's important not to set up a tent in the negative emotion. We need to move on. So that's actually, after the emotion, there's the intention. If my intention is I want to feel a victim, I want to make people feel bad about me, I want them to feel guilty about what they do to me. So that's me putting ourselves in a tent and having negative, inappropriate behavior. But the emotion, it's not good or bad. It is what it is. It's a signal. It's a signal. Let's dig deeper. What thought is so wrong here? And then I know it's connected to my need to feel loved or not. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Time is flying, but I want to give time to our friend Patrick. Patrick, I will give you the possibility to speak to our group again. Where are you? Okay, there you are. There you go. So Patrick will try to bring this all together, wrap this all together.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I am good, Patrick. Go ahead. It's good to see you again.
That's very good. So we're talking a lot about emotions lately, and one thing that I've noticed within my through practice, as awareness tends to grow through these mindfulness practice, is that I'm trying too hard, maybe subconsciously, to I do feel my emotions, but I don't dive into them deeply enough, and I don't and this is something that I need to work on. I don't take the time to write down what emotions I'm feeling, where it might be coming from, what's the pattern. Is there a pattern? Is there a certain day where I feel a certain day and time where I feel a certain type of emotion? Like for example, am I more angry during the morning period when I first wake up? Could it be because of a lack of water in my system? It's not only, for example, a lack of water in the system. It's also it could be a lack of willingness, for lack of a better word, willingness to acknowledge the way we're feeling. So, for example, for me, I have a certain amount of anxiety within myself, and often if I suppress it too much by just focusing on nature and constantly avoiding it, yes, that's amusing. It's pleasurable to focus on nature, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, there needs to be a time, maybe at night, where you just settle down and you realize, wow, I've been suppressing this all day long. And so for me, it really is the anxiety. And if I hide that anxiety too much, I start to feel depression. And I'm aware enough to know that that depression is caused by certain thought patterns. So the thought patterns that I might be thinking is, I wonder, like, I don't actually think this, it's more of a deep rooted subconscious thought that acts out in other types of thoughts. So the deep rooted thought, the center of my onion would be, I'm afraid that people will judge me or think that I'm stupid or something like that. And if I go deep into that, it's not pleasurable. It's not something that I like to talk about. Already I'm feeling a bit of anxiety, but that's normal. And I have to have the courage to dive into that. And as I peel the layers of this onion, where does that come from? I'm afraid of people thinking that I'm stupid or people judging me. Well, it could come from a certain amount, a low level of paranoia towards male figures. I get nervous sometimes around dominant male figures and people that have achieved more than I have, not out of jealousy, but just maybe it's because of my dad. Maybe my father was very strict as a child, which he kind of was. And so we explore these thoughts, we explore these emotions, and then we come back to this sort of state of mind where we look at nature and stuff like that and we just relax a little bit because it's hard and you don't want to look at the onion all day long. You just take the time to look at it once in a while. And now I have to take a deep breath because that's a painful part of my history that I just shared with all of you, and I'm being vulnerable about it. But I'm being vulnerable because I know it can possibly help someone listening to it. So it's good to pick at the onion, slowly but surely make your way to the center. And like I said, like my center is, I'm afraid that people will judge me, and there's a bit of paranoia in that. But it helps to talk about it because the more you do talk about it, the more that onion gets washed under the sink with soap. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna share more of my emotions with you guys in the next week. And just take a deep breath if it's hard, like I did. Just take a deep breath, like that. Take care, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for being so transparent, be willing to be vulnerable and talk even about your own emotions and thoughts, which I find so interesting. You said the depression, the emotion of feeling down, depressed, sad, comes from a thought pattern. So again, the layer underneath the emotions is the thoughts, which maybe people will judge me, think I'm stupid. And then if we dig deeper, what's that risk? It's our need to be loved. We're not valued, we're not secure. So that's really threatened. And now we have to come out of that by stating, no, I am valuable, I am okay, I'm valued, I have worth, I have some safety. My thought is different, my emotions and different, intentions and behavior. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Patrick. I think it brings it all together. So this week's homework is to practice those columns with the 5. I have 4 here, but there's the other one, which is the needs. I think I'll try to send you an email to summarize that, so it's easier for you to practice. And if you're clueless when you try to do it, it's okay. It's okay. Just if you're even a little more attentive to your emotions, what label should I put to my emotion? That's a wonderful start. So do that, and we will talk about that next week. And I want to talk a little more to kind of wrap this whole series together. We'll talk about where can we find that feeling of being lovable? Where can I ground myself and find that I am loved, I am secure, and I am worthy? Okay, very good. Have a good week, everybody. Tracy says, thanks for sharing. Very brave. Yeah, we appreciate that from Patrick. I love your share, Patrick, from Renati. Thank you so much, says Nancy, and thank you, Julian. Thank you, everybody, and have a good week. And I'll see you next Monday for